Guys, I'm sitting here with a powerhouse real estate investor, Chris Eymann. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm really excited about this interview. I've known of you and about you for a long time, ever since I moved to Phoenix. I lived here for about 3 years, now in Puerto Rico, but I've always looked at you with tremendous respect. You are, like I said, a powerhouse in this business and in this market. Been in the business for a long time, done thousands of transactions. I saw a post that you made at the end of 2022 or at the beginning of 2023 as of this recording. And I think your total transactions was like 444.
444, yeah.
444 for 2022. Guys, 444 transactions in a 12-month period. I mean, that is just phenomenal. So, Chris, I mean, you are at like the elite of the elite with that kind of volume. Now, are these all flips?
No, all wholesale deals, basically.
Yeah, all wholesale deals. And I'm on your list. And I mean, you wholesale like a machine in the Phoenix market. And so I want to talk to you because I think you are a tremendous source of wealth and as far as information. And I can't wait to talk to you about how you're looking at the market. You know, a lot of people are kind of concerned about 2023, where we're going. Is it a good time? Should I pull back? Should I sit the sidelines? A lot of money's pulling back. I think a lot of, I call them fly-by nights, but a lot of the investors that were overbuying did not have a really good business formula. They're gone. They're out of business. iBuyers are leaving. The hedge funds are drying up or on hold. So it's kind of an interesting place. So excited, Chris, to talk to you about all of this.
Yeah, no, it's all like very fluid, right? Everything's happening real time. So it's interesting. So.
Yeah. So first thing, we were talking before we started offline, and you had talked about how since the pandemic, we got into this weird market, and you kept saying that was not normal. You kept telling your kids that are in the business and your team, like, guys, let's capitalize on this, but this is not normal real estate. And since you've been doing this a long time, you knew that.
Yeah, it's just...
What does that mean to you? What do you mean by that?
Well, obviously when you have such cheap capital, I think, iBuyers, buy and hold guys, even the mom and pop guy probably went out and bought a couple extra rentals, a couple extra VRBOs. So if you take a guy that normally buys one house to live in, now you got that guy buying his one house to live in and maybe a couple rentals over here, a couple VRBOs over here, a place in Flagstaff for a VRBO up there. I mean, so you're just putting extra volume in the market that's not normal, right? Because just keep cheap capital and
cheap capital, low interest rates.
Yeah.
All of that made it easy to get in during that time.
And then when you're seeing people like, oh, I bought it today and I could make $30,000, $40,000 on it tomorrow. I mean, you're going to keep doing it, right? You're not going to stop. Right?
And what do you think about this? Because I saw this happen. A lot of flippers come and go, and investors come and go.
Yeah.
And the natural evolution is that some flippers come in, they do it wrong, they lose money, they leave.
Right.
Well, when you're in a market that's all upside, what happens is that flipper buys wrong, he overpays, he over renovates. And he should lose money, but he doesn't lose. He should lose money and go back to the job. And then, the market levels out with competition.
Yeah.
Instead, he makes 50 grand.
Yeah, and he wins.
Just because 6 months went by.
Yeah.
And he wins. And now he's buying another house and he's still in the game.
Yeah.
And that had tremendous impact on the market. People that should have been out of business were not out of business.
No, he won. And then that contributes to like, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. And the next one I buy and I wholesale it or to put it back on MLS with no work done and I win again.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And for me, I started in 04. I think, what year did you start?
99.
99. So you've been around a long time. I started in 04. So I went through the whole 08 crash.
Yeah.
And
that was painful.
Extremely painful. But I weathered through it. I kept going. I flipped houses right through all of that. I'd have 2 or 3 buyers fall through before one could get approved for a loan.
Yeah.
Right during that time, but there were still buyers looking for renovated homes. As a flipper, I was flipping and wholesaling, but I'm doing a lot of flipping. And so I've kind of seen these cycles. And so what that taught me was to follow the fundamentals.
Yeah.
And so even when COVID came, I was still buying my buy box. My formula was still the traditional. I want to be at 70%. I want to have solid comps. I want to buy right. And if the market keeps going bananas, that's all just bonus money.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to move off of my formula because I don't know when this freight train's going to end, and I don't want to get caught and stuck in deals, right?
Yeah.
And I have a couple, right? Because it was hard to anticipate all of it. But my point with that is I would see these guys flippers buying at 85 cents here in Phoenix, 85 cents less repairs equals buy price.
Yeah.
And thinking that was a good formula to be successful at.
Yeah. And and
it worked.
Yeah. It
for
worked.
a minute.
Yeah. It worked at the time, but now you look at it like it's not working now. And that could be the mom and pop. And then, you can take that all the way and scale it all the way up to like Zillow and Open Door. It's got a pencil. Even if you have all the money in the world, it's still got a pencil because how much did they lose?
Millions. Yeah. Billions. Yeah.
So it's got a pencil, whether it's, now in your mom and pop or your Zillow. It's got a pencil.
Don't tell anyone, but here's a secret I have to tell you before we get back to the video. There are hidden deals on the MLS that other wholesalers and flippers can't see. And I just discovered a website where you can find these hidden deals. Just go to joinpropwire.com, type in any zip code, city, or county, choose for sale MLS as a lead type, pull up the MLS keyword tool in advanced filters, choose a motivation level, and press submit. That's it. Now, I don't know how it works, but somehow this site instantly scrapes every MLS listing in that area and shows you hidden deals that other investors miss. It even gives you property details, photos, and contact info for the listing agent. Check it out now at joinpropwire.com. Yeah, and as a giant wholesaler in the market, in like the Phoenix market, how are you seeing right now the adjustments that your buyers are making? What are they doing? How are they thinking about the market right now?
Well, obviously, it's your acquisition is it's all in the acquisition, right?
It's all in the buy, right?
All in the buy. So, I'm selling stuff and, we're wholesaling, but it's got to be at the right price. It's probably 65 to 70 cents on the dollar to get that buyer off the fence to go, oh, this email came across my desk. You know what? I'm going to buy that.
I better look at it. Yeah. How can I say no?
Yeah,
at 65%.
Because I paid across the street. I paid 85% for this one, and now how can I go wrong with this one? That's $100,000 less.
How many contracts are you having to renegotiate, or have you figured out the new numbers now?
No, we generally go in where it's like, hey, I'd rather just not contract it at 85 or 75 cents, because I'm gonna have to cancel it. So I'd rather just not cancel it. No. Do we have a perfect system? No. I mean,
you can't.
Who does?
Who does, right? Yeah. You do your best, you get it at the number you can, and then the market teaches you.
Yeah.
So are you using your cash buyers now to teach you where to be on your buys, right?
No, but I've been through this. This is not my first rodeo, right? And just so everybody knows, this one, and you can tell them this too, this one is not near as bad as last.
Oh, no.
This is just a little blip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking with Jamil, and he said, right now, this is like the rubber band is getting pulled back right now, and it's just getting tighter and tighter. So I agree. I think this is just a correction because if you think about it, there's still an inventory problem, a fundamental inventory problem, which means unless we get flooded with inventory, we're not going to see a big crash. You just can't, because there's still buyers even at high interest rates.
Yeah, and we can talk either national numbers or Phoenix numbers, but national numbers, we're at like 520,000 actives, right? The normal is 750.
Yeah.
So
normal market, like a flat market.
For the whole United States is like 750,000. We're at 520. And it's going to tick up, because that's what happens in January is people start putting their houses on the market.
Right. At what point, if interest rates creep back down a bit, what do you think? I've got an idea. No one knows, but what do you think would then kind of take the market back to growth again?
Well, you've actually seen two instances this fall. You saw September, where interest rates were in the 5.5s, and you saw an uptick. And then you just saw an upswing in November and December. When do you see a buyer upswing in November, December? You don't.
Because that's not the buying season.
That's not the buying season, but you saw interest rates dip into the fives, and in November, December, you saw some buying on 2 months where you don't see buying.
Interesting.
So you've seen two examples this fall. So you got the 10-year sitting right. It's bouncing at 3.5, 3.6 right now, which, I mean, some people don't watch the 10-year like I watch the 10-year. Generally, it's a 2-point spread, right?
Okay.
So 3.5 means like a 5.5% mortgage
for mortgage interest rates.
Yeah, for the brokers and bankers, they got that 2 point. You never see what's called a prepayment penalty in a 30-year term, but you saw it this fall go to a 3% spread, and the reason that is because those secondary market guys didn't want to buy that paper because what is everybody saying? Buy it now, refinance next year, right? Those secondary market guys don't want a 9-month loan or a 12-month loan.
And then they refi out? Yeah, they want to hold it longer.
Yeah, they want a 3 to 5 to 7. The national average, what is it, 7 years to buy and sell a house, right? So they don't want a 9-month paper. 12. So that was the prepayment.
That's why it was
got to 3. Yeah, because those guys are going, I don't want this paper because it's gonna refi in 12 months.
It feels to me that if mortgage rates get in the 5s, low 5s, I think the buyers will all come back out. Sellers will probably loosen up. What's tricky right now is buyers don't want to buy in at high interest rates, and sellers don't want to sell out of their 3% rates.
No,
so it's kind of we're in like a stalemate.
Yeah, we're sell out of a 3 and going to a 5.5.
Who would do that? Who wants to do that?
You still have the people that have to do that, right? The divorces, the job transfers, exactly.
Yeah.
But so that's gonna just keep the volume down, right? In Phoenix volume, we saw 10,000, 12,000 houses. I think Phoenix volume, you see 7,500, 8,000 houses. So it's just going to move back to what we talked to before. It's back to normal. That wasn't normal. 7,500, 8,000 transactions. That's closer to normal.
That's back to normal. And so like I like to think about just the economics, right? Supply and demand, and a real estate market. When it gets out of balance, it naturally wants to correct, right? Like it needs to, as long as you leave it alone. Now, if you interfere with it with government policy and different things, you can screw that all up, which we've seen.
Yeah.
But if you leave it alone, the market tries to level back out into some kind of normal flow of buyers and sellers, right? And so that's what the market feels like it's trying to do. It's trying to, like, when you see 40% year over year growth in a market, that's just not normal. That's not healthy. Something's wrong there. And I think the market's going to take some of that back. Maybe not all of it, but it's going to try to squeeze some of that back out. And it kind of should.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of like okay with the market correcting some, because we don't want an out of control market. That's not good for anybody.
No, because then you see the really highs and then you see the big downturn.
Big swings come back, right? We want to not have such big swings. And you said earlier that since the pandemic, we hit this kind of weird market, right, where everything was just exploding, and you like doubled your volume.
Yeah, I mean, I went from 30 to 40 to, we hit like 75 houses, 80 houses in a month.
A month, guys. So high volume, very high volume. And now you said that you've cut back to what you feel like is normal, the 30 to 40 number.
Yeah, 30 to 40, I think.
And you're okay with it?
Yeah, I'm great with it. It's just, we get our, we live in Phoenix. Like, you got Pace, you got Jamil, you got everybody, right?
It's like guru capital, and flipping capital. Like, is there a bigger market that flips more than Phoenix? I don't know.
I don't think so. But the thing is, it's, you got Vegas is very similar as far as product type, right? It's in Phoenix, we have just new product. It's you go back to Chicago and those Midwest where you got 1980 homes and early 90s.
I'm from Detroit. Yeah,
it's way different.
All built in the 50s. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's way different when you can go in 1970 or your old house is a 1960 or something like that. But or you can flip like 2000s. Those are like, you're not moving any walls. You're not doing anything difficult.
Yeah, updated. Past 1960s when the major electrical codes changed. So, prior to that, when I buy these old homes in Detroit, like, they're knob and tube. Like, I got to rewire a house.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother game when you're rewiring, a house versus this kind of newer inventory that you can kind of, you see these flippers in Phoenix and they just knock these things out in 3-4 weeks and back on the market fast.
Yeah. Obviously we had the iBuyers, the buy and hold guys. Everybody came to Phoenix because the product you got a 600 unit subdivision. There's one 1527 square feet. There's one around the corner. 50, it's easy. Right?
And I wanted to ask you, Chris, even as a volume guy, so you can't, I think, maybe tell me if I'm wrong, but as a volume guy, it's probably very hard to create individual relationships with some of your buyers. Are you able to still do that? How close do you stay to your buyers?
We have kind of those guys that are, doing, 50 to 100 houses a month, but, we can say, hey, we got this one because we know this is kind of their product. But, when you're dealing with, that kind of volume, it's just easier to send it out on the email.
And let them pick it.
Yeah, and let them pick it.
So that's a much different model. I think most new people, a lot of the messaging I've been saying, Chris, is since a lot of buyers are now out of the game, then the ones that are remaining, you need to create some strategic relationships. You need to get close to them, make sure you're doing like a full service wholesale, or you're really understanding their buy box and not bringing them junk that they don't want or out of formula what they don't want. Like you got to really kind of learn your buyer. Whereas before you just wave a contract in the air and someone wants it, post it on Facebook and it's gone. I think now for a lot of smaller wholesalers, they're going to have to really create those relationships. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So obviously get the last 60 day buy list, who's actually buying in this market, call them, get on the phone. I know people don't like to use the phone anymore.
Yeah. People don't want to talk on the phone. Brent would have a heart attack to talk to people.
Yeah. But pick up the phone and find out what they're looking for and stuff like that. In my model, I got so many buyers. My email blast goes out to 11,000 people. And that's not 11,000 people that I just added to the list. That's 11,000 people that came to me and said, add me to your list, right? So that's different, because people can say, oh, I got a 30,000 person list. Well,
that they grabbed off of Facebook or somewhere.
Yeah. So these are actually people that, requested it. But I still just do that same thing. It's like, I get the cash buyers list last 90 days, especially in the last 6 months. And I reach out to them and, hey, just making sure you're on my list.
Yeah.
And if you're not, can I add you to it? But I don't ever add them to it. I actually reach out first.
Love that. You guys catch that? Let me share that strategy. So what Chris does is he gets a list of the last 60 days, 30, 60, 90 days of cash buyers. This is data you can acquire.
Yeah.
And it's simple to do. It's people that are buying with no debt, right? That's essentially a cash buyer list. So 100% equity, recent buyers. And then he's outbounding to them. So his team is actually calling them because those are people playing in this market. They're people buying today in a down market. Those are legit.
Yeah.
Those are not the fly-by-nights. They're gone. These are legit buyers. And he's saying to them, hey, I see you're buying right now. Are you on my list? Are you seeing my inventory, my properties that I'm getting? And what a great way to list build of active buyers right now in today's market.
Yeah, because with everybody in town, they might get on, like I said, Jamil's list, other people's lists, but they're buying from them, but you just making sure they're seeing your stuff too.
Yeah. Right. That's just smart business to grow right now when there's a lot less buyers maybe in the marketplace.
Yeah. Cause my 11,000 people, 9 of them might've just bowed out, right? 9,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And so are you trying to go through and clean up your list? How do you clean
actually,
your list?
if you haven't opened my email in 180 days, you drop off my list and I re-engage.
Try to re-engage. Yeah, smart. That way you're not sending to non-openers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. Talk to me a little bit about your acquisition process. I've watched some content that you put out, and you're you've traditionally been a big trustee sale guy.
Yeah.
So buying at the courtyard steps.
Yeah, there's no, but unfortunately, everybody's like, people use data that they see in the newspapers, on social media or whatever, like, oh, foreclosures are up 10%. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I had to teach a class early November. So I pulled the notices for Arizona for the month of October. Mm-hmm. There are more releases on foreclosures in the month of October than there were notices.
So explain that. What do you mean by that?
So if they notice a foreclosure, it's a 90-day notice.
So at 90 days late, they get the notice, notice of default.
Yeah, they get the notice of default on 31.
Okay.
Now, QM came in and said they have to do a workout program for 6 months. So that could be a modification agreement, any of that, right?
Short sale.
Yeah, so the QM laws came in or short sale. But anyway, the bank's got to reach out to you and say, hey, you fell behind. What can we do to help you out? What's going on? That's that came in
as part of the legal process to foreclose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're a traditional bank, like if you're a hard money lender like me,
do whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. But so you have a 30 days late, then QM starts. Banks got to reach out, say, hey, can we work with you? That kind of stuff. So that's like another 6 months. And then they can notice it for trustee sale, which is a 90-day notice that we're going to auction your house.
So the whole process is almost a year.
Yeah. So, but in October, those 90-day notices that get recorded at the court or at the recorder's office, there were more people getting out of foreclosure from guys like me and people knocking on their door. Because as soon as that notice hits the recorder's office,
public data,
10 people hit their house.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Mailings, knocking, calls, their skip tree. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were more releases, people saying, okay, this was noticed, but we're releasing the notice because we've been paid off, than actually. So there was
actually trustee sales?
Yeah. So there was a negative in October. There was a negative amount to the trustee sales. And I'll just give you some data. At that time in early November, there were 1,032 houses in foreclosure. Phoenix, Arizona hit, 60,000 houses in foreclosure in 2008-9.
Yeah.
60,000 versus 1,032. So
yeah, not even close to the same problem that happened.
We're not even close.
Yeah, so that's crazy. But I mean, I'm buying a lot on auction. So post foreclosure, bank owned properties. I bought 7 last week. I bought 5 this morning. Bids came due this morning before I came over here. And I feel like I'm buying at like 50 cents on the dollar.
Which market?
All weird markets all over, like Alabama, Kansas, Illinois, mostly all kind of like south or that. And these are cheap. So these are like $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 homes. They're worth $120,000. Yeah. And I'm really picky. I got to see pictures. They got to be vacant. I won't do occupied. And they got to be clean. Yeah. Like almost trash out ready.
Are rentals? Are you flipping?
Flip. Yeah. Okay. So my plan is very minimal on a rehab and relist.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think you'll have,
And there's a lot of inventory coming.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Yeah. But like I said, what's funny is real estate used to be like everything was in a curve. Like real estate's great for the United States. Real estate's terrible. Like the last 6 months, it's really going to get really kind of down to the
market specific. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys caught that. It's very I mean, you'll see some markets, like I was looking at Tampa, and Tampa, and I'm kind of generalizing Tampa here, but it kind of went like it peaked in July when you look at the year over year. It did this little dip, and then it's kind of like back, not upticking, but flat, and then November was kind of a little bump up. You're like, wow, that's pretty insane to see, like the where the market's kind of gone, interest rates and all of that, where you're seeing some big downward swings on a lot of markets. Yeah. And then some markets are kind of going to weather this all right.
Yeah. So like if you look at kind of Phoenix as a whole, we were at 5,000 actives, peaked at 21,000 actives.
And
when we're like 16,000 actives. And so if you listen to our local data guy, it's called the Cromford Report. He just said, just yesterday, he said, we switched back to a seller's market.
Because so tell us the stats to equal one or the other. So certain data's got to happen for it to be considered a buyer's market or a seller's market. So what is that?
So the Cromford Report has the index at like 100. And if it goes above 100, it switches to a seller's market. If it's below 100, it's like kind of a buyer's market. So, but
that's pretty nuts. That means we're not in a down market technically, if that's the case.
Yeah. But, and then you got people, a guy posted it, another wholesaler posted that on his social media. And then everybody jumps in and is like, oh no, you're way off base. But you got to look at, once again, back to the inventory, right? The inventory, we're at 16,000 actives for a town of 6 million people. And that's actives. That's condos, townhouses, houses, so.
You cannot see drastic price drops if there's not enough inventory. There's too many people in a market for it to come down.
Yeah. And then you have another little stat that people don't pay attention to. We always have like 80,000 people move here because the weather, they're retiring, all this stuff. We had 400,000 people move here during COVID.
Yeah, it was the number one. I think Maricopa County. Yeah. I think Maricopa County. I read this had had the biggest influx of new move-ins than any other county in the U.S.
Yeah. So like, once again, here's that supply and demand. You have 400,000 people drop into your state in a couple of years. It's like, and then here's the interesting thing about that whole inventory thing is you just had all the land guys cancel all their earnest money. So you almost took all your 2024 building away.
So now even tighter, less inventory.
In 2024 is going to have less inventory.
So guys, if you think about this, if they're not building new housing, then there's absolutely no way to keep up with demand because there's more buyers coming online than there is inventory. If we're not creating new inventory, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's going to pent it up.
And you're still going to have it. I mean, it's not like the 80,000 people that have been coming here for the last 20 or 30 years isn't going to come this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So this is a great point here you're making, Chris. A lot of people watching this, they're going to be all over the U.S. Wholesalers on my channel. They're everywhere, every market. And a lot of them are virtual. So they live here and they do deals there. I just did an interview earlier today. He lives here in Phoenix, did a deal in Oklahoma City that I bought. And what's interesting about this is there's the grass is greener, syndrome where people think, man, if only I was in that Phoenix market, I could make more money, do more deals. And then you have people in Phoenix that are like, it's too competitive here. I should go to Oklahoma City because there's better deals there. Wherever people are at, how would you tell a virtual wholesaler, someone that's kind of maybe deciding on a market, what advice would you give them to choose a virtual market to do deals in? Are you a backyard only guy? Because you're a backyard guy.
No, I do deals here in Florida. So
okay,
yeah. So, but yeah, to me, I would just look at the inventory. I would look at the historical inventory. I would look at the inventory during COVID. I'd look at the inventory now, and I'd look at the demand because that's what's like.
But you're not afraid of a competitive market.
No, I mean, I'm going to slice out. I've been in the market longer than a lot of these.
Everybody.
A lot of these younger guys that have been in this market, whether it's Brent or, Brent and I used to office together. So yeah. Or Jamil, and I used to office with Jamil too. Mm-hmm. So but I just need my little slice.
So for a new wholesaler, I mean, if you think about like Phoenix, for example, your tiny little sliver out of the pie is going to make you, I mean, you can make $1 million a year.
Yeah. I have,
right. So you don't need a big piece of the pie to win.
It's big. Like, I just actually had coffee with a guy today and he's re-engaging. He's like, should I get back in? I'm like, if you can do 2 deals and kind of our average wholesale deal is at $12,000 a deal, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, you're a guy, you don't have an assistant, you don't have an office. I gave him an office in my office just to here's a little cubicle, go. I'm like, 2 to 3 deals. He's a real estate agent too. Yeah. I'm like, do a grab off MLS and wholesale that one. Mm-hmm. Get your virtual assistant calling for you.
For dirt cheap.
Yeah, for dirt cheap. Get your inbound direct to seller leads. Like you do 2 to 3 deals a month and you make $30,000 a month. Like,
where are you going to make that doing something else? Like, come on, let's go. I know. That's it.
I mean, you just got to do your systems, right? Your VA calling. Don't put it on the yellow pad. Put it in a CRM. Spend the $100 or $150 on a good CRM that does the drip campaigns for you.
Yep, does the follow-ups and all that. Yeah.
Make your calls like you should.
Be consistent. Do it every day. Show up. Just show. It's like I tell people, if you could just show up, like maybe you screw up the negotiation or the analysis or the offer or whatever, but if you just show up and you just pick up the phone and you're gonna almost win. Like that's 80% of the game. It's just showing up.
Consistency, right?
Right. Just show up, guys. Just get there and do it, and you'll be so surprised if you're just consistent.
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you're brand new and you got no skills, and you can figure out how to make 100 offers in a month, so 5 a day, 5 days a week, 100 offers in a month, you will get a deal.
Yeah.
You will. And every time I tell someone to challenge that, they'll tell me, I got it was number 58, I got it, and I wholesaled it for 10 or 15 grand or whatever. Like you will.
Yeah.
But yet people don't want to do it.
Yeah, and I think, it's different because there's different personalities. Like you just met me, but Brent, you've talked to Brent, but like Brent and I are completely different personalities, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not the guy that's gonna I'm not the talk to people guy. I'm kind of the quieter type, but it's just the consistency. Like Brent's going to close more deals than I am. Jamil's going to close more deals than I am. But I'm still, if I
they're
do
personally on the phone, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, you've clearly built a system and a process and a team.
Right. But that shows that you can be my personality and still, as long as you follow the system,
still win big. Yeah. You guys catch that. Yeah. So if you're like, man, I'm not good on the phones, I don't like talking to people, it doesn't matter. Yeah. So Chris has people doing that. You've got people on the phones all day.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you build a team, you build a system, and that's how you can.
I'm more the analytical type. I can see I repeat these numbers about stats and inventory because I'm the math guy. I can read it once and know it,
Yeah. Which is a huge skill set in and of itself. So, and are you feeling like going into 2023, are you feeling like this is still a market that you can win big in? Are you feeling confident about that?
Yeah, I think, I'm excited about this time because I know that it's kind of switching, and I know that there's low inventory, and I know that the demand's picking up, especially if the mortgage rates stay in the high fives, because I've now seen it, like I said, I've seen it twice where it's picked up. It doesn't pick up in November, December normally.
Traditionally,
right?
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity right now where everybody's kind of like 6 months behind us, right? Mm-hmm. In my opinion.
Yeah. You mean like sellers?
Just knowledge, yes. The traditional seller, knowledge, right? So I kind of knew, if you watch my podcast like in March, I'm like, it's coming. And then it switches. And
here's why that is, guys. So what Chris is saying here is he's saying when a market corrects, the first people to switch and change and adjust are investors, right? Cash buyers. They're quick to go, oh crap, market shifting. I got to anticipate some depreciation coming up. All of a sudden now I got to buy deeper. So like overnight cash buyers are buying deeper.
Yeah.
Well, sellers they're not as savvy. They're not paying attention. They're still looking at their neighbor's Zillow number. Right. And so there's a lag before sellers are willing to start to come down where they need to be. But that's coming loose here in 2023.
Yeah. So, but now if it kind of dips the other direction, all those sellers are behind the time and they're still thinking, oh, I should just dump it at 60 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
But maybe we can start selling it like that 72 to 75.
So the same thing happens back the other way. Sellers are slow. They're still letting stuff go for probably cheaper than they could get because of the market. And you can win on that swing up too.
Yeah.
Right?
That's when you win. You're bigger. You just and obviously you can lose on the top, but if as long as you just know where the inventory is and what's happening, just pay attention to the numbers. A lot of people don't pay attention to the numbers. I look at the numbers every single day.
Yeah, the numbers matter. And I would say right now, even though there's a lag with sellers, still make those offers. Like, don't be afraid of those offers. You might get a lot of rejections, but you're going to start to have sellers take those low numbers. Like we just got a deal in Texas where it was on market, list at 375. They took 200. We got it at 200 out of 375 list.
Yeah.
Like just because it's listed high doesn't mean that the seller might not take a low offer. And the only way you'll know is to make the offer. So just make the offer and don't worry about if they say no, just make the offer.
I did one in Scottsdale, everybody's favorite.
Scottsdale,
right. It was listed at 375. I paid $280 for it, $100,000 off.
Yeah,
because I made the offer.
Because you were willing to make a low offer when everyone else said, "Oh, it's overpriced, pass."
Yeah, it just in the remarks, it's like looking for a quick sale. That's all it said.
That's it. That was enough for you to come in low.
Yeah,
that's great. Well, what markets are you in Florida?
Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, and then I do personal flips in Fort Lauderdale. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so any of those markets, guys, I'm going to put Chris's information in the description below. If you're in anywhere Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere Phoenix.
Anywhere Arizona. Yeah.
Anywhere Arizona. Okay, so if you're doing deals, looking for deals anywhere Arizona or those markets in Florida, they need to reach out and get on your list and start getting your inventory.
Yeah.
Chris, it's been amazing to talk about this. I hope you guys found a lot of value in this. Hope this has got you excited for the market 2023. I would definitely say everything goes in cycles. So a lot of the stuff I'm kind of putting out, like, hey, here's what I'm doing right now. That's all going to be different maybe in a year. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
Because we have to adjust as the markets adjust.
Yeah, and it's really going to be market specific.
Market specific. I hope that's a takeaway you guys got. Learn your market. Invest in learning your market. I don't care what market it is. just take the time and invest in your market. A strategy that I do sometimes in a market is even if this is virtual, fly out there, print out all of the, sold homes in the past 30 days and drive. Just drive every single one of them. Look at the house, look at the street, look at the neighborhood. Ask yourself, why did this house sell for this? Why is it selling at this price per square foot? Go to the next one. A day or two of doing that, and you will have so much knowledge in a marketplace. You'll learn where all the good areas are. You'll learn where the major roads that change things. You'll learn the school districts. You'll start to become a market expert.
Yeah. And then I always, find out what that number in that market that makes it a buyer or seller's market. Like for Phoenix, it's like 30 to 32,000. Like we're in it. It jumped up to 21,500
as far as homes for sale.
But now we're at 16. So, I mean, you have 16,000 actives going into the spring.
Yeah.
And then if you have interest rates dip into the 5.5s, I mean,
there you go.
All those three things say, I'm not saying it's going to be 2021, but it should be good. So
corrections should be done.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
So,
yeah. That's a very good take on that. I love that.
So,
well, guys, leave a comment if you found value in this. Ask some questions, and leave a comment and say, Chris, you're a flipping genius. Love that you're willing to share with all of the deals you've done, the wealth of information you have. And let's make this a regular thing. I've been coming to Phoenix quite often.
I want to go to Puerto Rico.
Come to Puerto Rico. I'll spend time with you there. I'll show you some deals I'm doing in Puerto Rico. You would get excited.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I feel like Puerto Rico is like 2012. It's about to kind of like just go.
Yeah.
There's some really amazing deals right now that you can get. Credit's really hard there. There's still not good financing. There's only like 2 banks. And so that's very challenging. So if you can bring capital to the island, you've got a huge playground because there's a lot of capital restraints in Puerto Rico. Oh. And it's hard to bring money there because mainland investors are like, I don't really understand it. I don't know it. And it feels kind of like another country. And so they're reluctant. But if they would just come and take a little bit of time, they would see there's some tremendous opportunity.
Yeah.
In that
market.
I'm
a hard money lender, so I know how to raise money.
Let's go. Come to Puerto Rico. I'll deploy your money for you there.
Perfect.
Let's go. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next video.